Did Oppo just make the best phone of the year? Let's talk about it. Finally, I got my hands on an Oppo flagship because for the past 2 to 3 years they've been China exclusive, but this beauty is finally available worldwide. And let me tell you my experience with it. As usual, let's start with the design and the build quality. You get two color options. The Pearl White that I've got, which has this beautiful pattern as the name says, pearl, and you got normal black, but still classy. I haven't still figured out exactly what's the material that's used on the back. It feels like a mixture of plastic and glass because there's wireless charging on it, but whatever it is, it feels nice. It reminds me of the OnePlus 12, but makes so much sense because Oppo owns OnePlus company. Just like the OnePlus, it has this soft finish to it. I recommend you getting a case for that extra grip, and Oppo makes these beautiful cases with MagSafe built into them. The weight of the phone is only 215 grams for a 6.8-inch device, which is lighter than the iPhone 16 Pro Max and S24 Ultra and even Google Pixel 9 Pro. Instead of an action button that you have to go and customize and create shortcuts, they have that OG OnePlus and Oppo silent button, which you can just do three things. You get ring, you get vibrate, and you get silent. And you can figure it out even if it's in your pocket because it's just up and down and there's only three things to do. Now let's talk about the display on this phone. You get a 6.8-inch Full HD Plus AMOLED screen with 120Hz refresh rate, and it's an LTPO panel, so that means it will go from 1 to 120Hz refresh rate. Oppo is claiming that this phone can go up to 4,500 nits of brightness, and a little tiny thing underneath it says 1,600 nits of brightness. This happened exactly, unfortunately, with the OnePlus phone that a lot of people were going off at me. Look, it doesn't go to 4,500 nits of brightness. Like under direct sunlight, it is good, it is bright, but I don't think it's as bright as my Samsung S24 Ultra or my iPhone 16 Pro. But overall, you're not gonna be disappointed. It's an AMOLED display, it's bright in most scenarios, and when you watch content, it gets brighter than the other phones that I mentioned. I kinda wanna talk about the water resistancy, although I'm in the display section, because it kinda combines the build quality and the display section together. And that's that this phone is IP68/69. You might wonder what is that extra number there. Well, this phone has something called Splash Touch. I kind of roasted it in the OnePlus video and I kind of regret it because I didn't do the test properly. And again, I did my amazing scientific testing. During those scientific testing, it's actually better than the other phones that I have, like the iPhones and the Samsung. If you have water droplets on the screen, you genuinely can use the screen while the iPhone starts calling your ex. And the second thing that makes this display extra special is the PW dimming. In simple terms, it means that this screen is flicker free. Your eyes might not notice it, but your iPhone or your Samsung is usually refreshing at 480 Hz, while this phone is refreshing at 2160 Hz. This is not the same refresh rate of the display, but it's more of how much is flickering per second. And this phone is basically flicker free. Talking about refresh rate, like I said, it's a 120Hz refresh rate. And with the ColorOS combined, oh my God, ColorOS 15 is like if iOS and Google stock Android had a baby, and it's just like, Guys, I'm making noises because the software experience is so good and Oppo has come a long way. Yes, it's like copying some stuff from iOS, but it's doing it better. You get a fingerprint scanner in the display, but I don't think it's ultrasonic because it's not as snappy and fast as an ultrasonic. But I usually don't have any issues because their Face ID is basically so fast and it works even at night because the display immediately brights up and it opens up. Unlike the other Android phones, like I don't understand why other Android phones cannot do this. Just bright up the display and let that face scan or whatever it's gonna do. Now I know why you're here. This big gigantic thing on the back. The beautiful gigantic thing that a lot of people would call it ugly, but I don't care because it has the best camera I have seen on any phone. And I've been begging for Oppo to bring this phone to Australia, and they did. And I don't care if it's big, because they have the latest and the best sensors from Sony inside of it. While your iPhone and your Samsung are cheaping out and getting you lower sensors, this one is not cheaping out. It has bigger sensors. It has 50 megapixels on each camera. Yes, the megapixels don't matter, but at the end of the day, it's the sensor that matters, and they haven't cheaped out. So you get a 50 megapixel ultra wide camera, you get a 50 megapixel main wide camera, and 2 telephotos as 50 megapixels. One at 3x optical and one at 6x optical. Because usually with other brands, you're zooming digitally from 1 to that 5x that they have. And that's why the portraits are amazing, because you get the range of zoom from 1 to 6. You're not forced like Google to do 1.5 and 2 and iPhone from 1, 2 and 5. You got that extra 3 in the middle, so you're not too cropped in or too cropped out. This is if OnePlus 12 was amazing. And the things that I didn't like about OnePlus 12 was the video quality, and I thought that the zoom was a little bit of a gimmick. They're not messing around, man. This phone is whoosh. This is the first phone that I've seen besides an Apple phone that does Dolby Vision at 60 frames per second. Let me know in the comment section, how is the video for an Android phone? Because Android phones usually tend to struggle with video quality, but if the photos are amazing, I'm pretty sure the video is going to be amazing too. Sure, it's not the best in the social media apps, but it's not Oppo's fault. It's Instagram, Snapchat, and the other apps' fault that they're not optimizing their applications for the phone itself. And talking about that zoom, look, you might not zoom 100x all the time or 120x all the time, but it does it. I'll take it. It's better than a 15x on iPhone that barely looks good, or that 5x telephoto that most of the time turns off at nighttime. This doesn't do that. And the focus range is not horrible like iPhone. I'm so sorry I'm constantly saying iPhone, 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 but that's because a lot of people think iPhone is the best. No, iPhone is not the best. This, Vivo, other phones that are in the China market, they're killing these big companies, but they're kind of stuck in that China market. If you watch my iPhone review, I said that 2 of the main issues with their telephoto lens is nighttime and the focus range. And this one has none of those issues. I took a picture of a goddamn something on a flower that I don't know what it is. That is insane. Holy mother of God, how is this phone doing this? Yeah, I'm out of words. This is the best phone camera. And if you don't want to be this close to an object, you just basically can just stand there, go 6x optical, and it's bam. My fiance was sitting in front of me and I was like, can I take a picture of your eyes? She's like, are you gonna bring the phone into my eyes again? I was like, no, you just sit there. I was like, done. Look at her beautiful eyes. Lovely eye, beautiful eye, great eye. I love that eye. That's my Trump impersonation. Let me show you this shot now. This is where I was sitting, and now I'm gonna zoom in around 25x on the bulb on the ceiling. Look at that! And also the reflection, and also the little sparkles and the dust on this bulb is still visible. Anyways, so I'm not saying it's 100% perfect. There are parts that I still think they could have done a better job, like slow motion and cinematic mode. And the reason that I say that is because the slow motion is capped at 1080p and it's not 4K like iPhone. And also you get that low resolution feeling when you're using slow motion. Plus the cinematic mode again is capped at 1080p, while iPhone and other brands can do 4K. But overall, I don't think I would really use cinematic mode on this phone when I use the telephoto lenses, because it gives that natural blur than a software blur. So I think that kind of balances it out. The other thing that I remember that I didn't like about the OnePlus 12 was the fact that when I used to zoom in, it had this jitter like feeling, and changing between the lenses wasn't that smooth. Well, this is just like perfect, like to the dot perfect. You know that Homelander meme?
Perfect. Everything, down to the last minute detail.
So this is at 1x, you got 3x telephoto and 6x telephoto, and that's my brother right there recording me. I forgot to mention one thing. There's a camera control on this phone. I made fun of it on iPhone, but there's a but. Do you remember when I said, when you hold the iPhone like this and your hand is touching the camera control, it usually gets triggered randomly and it messes up your shot? Well, that's what this doesn't do. You only can trigger it when you're holding the phone in the landscape mode, and it's genius. It doesn't do as much as what the Apple one does, but it basically does the necessities. Take a picture, zoom in, zoom out. No extra things. Now let's talk about the battery life. You get 5,910 milliamps, is in the same size as an iPhone 16 Pro Max and Galaxy and all the big phones in the market. But it's a different type of battery. It's a silicon carbon battery, and it genuinely lasts 2 days. Like, I tested it this week. I went from 11 in the morning till 11 at night the next day. That's a big deal as an iPhone user. My iPhone would just drain in my pocket. Fast charging included in the box. Yes, there's a fast charging included in the box. You don't need to pay for it. An 80-watt super WOOC or super walk charger, which goes from 0 to 80% in half an hour or something. I don't even realize because it's so fast. Downside, you only can get that speed only with the super walk, just like the OnePlus. So if you have a power bank like I do, and it supports around 170 watt, you barely get 30. And they also have a super fast wireless charging at 50 watts. You might say, it's gonna heat up, it's gonna blah, blah, blah. It has fans inside of it. They have thought about it. Let's talk about the processing. You get Dimensity 9400. I never heard of Dimensity until now, but goddamn, it's fast. It's really fast. Like, again, coming back to ColorOS being optimized, 16 gigs of RAM, 512 gigs of storage. That's the model that I've got. But Dimensity is killing the game for now. I was running games at 60 frames per second and there was zero lag, zero issues. The phone was barely heating up. If you want to game on this, go ahead. It can handle anything. Better than iPhone, better than Samsung. S24 Ultra, not S25 Ultra, because I'm pretty sure when the S25 Ultra comes out, it's Snapdragon Elite, and Dimensity 9400 and Snapdragon Elite are kind of similar. I am so sorry if my iPhone video was a rant and this was the complete opposite. It's so funny when you watch my iPhone review and you watch this review, it sounds like I'm a fanboy from Oppo. No, I am still an Apple user because I am stalking the ecosystem, but when a phone does it better, I'm gonna give them the credit. Apple, learn. I might never get invited to an Apple park or something, which is sad, but I don't care. Great phone, get it. But what do I rate this phone? 10 out of 10. Right now, 10 out of 10. Sorry, 9.5. Let's give it the benefit of the doubt, but like 9.5. The best phone until maybe I get my hands on that Vivo X200 Pro. So Vivo, please hook me up, or I gotta go buy it myself and be in debt again. Until the next video, I'll catch you guys later. Peace. I've heard you're here for the end credit as usual, so I'll give you some. I'll give you my Donald Trump impression saying that this is an amazing phone. Oppo is the best phone, the best, the magnificent, the most luxurious phone we have ever made. Thank you for watching. That was my Donald Trump impression. I hope I get a role into the White House.